One of the biggest issues I'm seeing is there are guys like me and there's people following guys like you and me, and their whole days are watching and being inspired, but they're forgetting the most important part, which is the doing. What's up, everybody? Welcome back to Life by Design. I'm your host, Tarek Moussa, and today we have a very special guest, Chris Harder. He's an entrepreneur, philanthropist, and also hosts the podcast For the Love of Money. Chris, how's it going today?
Good, man. Thanks for having me, Tarek.
Yeah, thanks for coming. So, Life by Design is all about teaching people how to build a life that you've always wanted. Yeah. And I'd like to start off by telling everybody a little bit about yourself, who you are, and what you do today.
Yeah, okay. So today, everyone knows me as investor, philanthropist, entrepreneur, and host of the Money Mindset podcast, For the Love of Money. And I love talking entrepreneurship. I love talking money mindset. But flashback 10 years ago, like we were kind of talking before we got on camera here, and my life was a mess, to be honest with you. I didn't like the way I was showing up in life, and we were really digging our way out from below zero. So just like you, my wife Lori and I, we were, hit by the recession. Except I think here's the big difference between Lori and I. We don't say the recession happened to us. We know that we happened to us. We put us in position where when the recession happened, it was the thing that tipped everything else over.
Right. You weren't prepared. Like many others, like myself.
Exactly.
I wasn't prepared. So I know you're super successful today. You're out there, helping entrepreneurs and building these amazing organizations. And you said, 10, 11 years ago, you were flat broke.
Flat broke. Matter of fact, below zero. Not only did I have to take an entire severance package I got when I left banking and apply all that to debt, we had to short sell our home, walk away from our rental properties, get rid of our cars, and start from below zero in a tiny little 900 square foot apartment. Mm-hmm. But you want to know what was cool about that time?
What was cool?
That was when I got to choose a new identity. That was when I got to choose how I wanted to show up in life. That was when I got to say, wait, I've had such a BS ego, and I've just been so hung up on the wrong things up till now that this is my chance to make better decisions. And that became the start of our entrepreneurship journey.
Man, I got to stop you real quick because I love that. So I always talk about rock bottom, and I always say rock bottom gives you an opportunity to really figure out who you are and who you want to be.
Yeah.
So my rock bottom was a few years ago, and I lost everything.
Yeah.
Like in my life, I felt like I lost everything. And I made a commitment to myself to completely reinvent who I was. Yeah. So it sounds like you took rock bottom as an opportunity.
It's an opportunity for everybody.
Yeah.
Listen, I'm not going to convince you it feels good in a moment. You know it doesn't feel good in a moment. Probably feels like the worst thing you've ever been through.
Yeah.
But the bottom line is this. Once you get past that feeling, you get to choose again. You get to reinvent yourself. You get to decide what kind of value you're going to lead with this time. So I used to lead with this shallow value of what kind of cars did I have and what did my house look like, and worse yet, what was my title, because I worked for the world's biggest bank at the time. What was my title and how many people did I lead? Like, I thought that's what made me important. And even worse than that, I thought being a good provider to my wife simply meant as long as I made enough money so that she didn't have to work, then I was being a good provider.
Okay, you know what's great about this? Okay, so everything you're saying is like the exact thoughts that go through my mind or went through my mind many years ago.
Yep.
Because like when I was on my entrepreneurial journey or whatever you want to call it, I was the same way. I had a big ego.
Yeah.
I was interested in titles. I thought my job was to provide and all these different things.
Yeah.
And then until I got my ass kicked, I didn't realize like I don't have an ego. I'm no better than anyone else. And it really made me kind of change my perspective on things. Instead of worrying about title, I asked myself today, like, how can I help other people? How can I give back? How can I grow an organization? How can I create a team? Where my mindset many, many years ago in my 20s was more focused on what can I do, as opposed to what can we do.
So is that a rite of passage? Is that an age thing? Do we have to go through something like this, do you think, to get to the point where you and I are now?
I think every single successful entrepreneur on this earth today has been checked.
Yeah.
I think every single successful entrepreneur has hit rock bottom.
So I look back, I'm glad it happened, to be honest, because had it happened later on in life, let's say once I had a family, once I had more to lose, that would have been catastrophic. Yeah. So to learn this when I was 30 years old, what a great time to learn it.
Well, I mean, before we started the podcast, you asked me a question. I've been through 2 different cancers. I've had gnarly back surgery. I've been on TV a long time. I had a very public divorce, suffered with depression, anxiety, and all these different things. And you asked me, would I change anything? And my answer was no, because every single thing that I've gone through has led me to this exact moment. And my life today is exactly how I imagine it. So there is nothing I would change about my life, and every single terrible thing that's ever happened to me has been a lesson, and I've been able to like honestly leverage the experience to improve my life. And I feel like if I never suffered, I wouldn't be able to enjoy the things I enjoy today. If I never suffered, I wouldn't be so happy to be living and just be happy, right?
Yeah, it's so true.
So you were in banking until you were 31. So you had a corporate job, you were
Yep.
making good money. So
Yep.
how did you go from having a corporate job to making money to losing everything?
Yeah, so recession hit. I was in banking. We're living way beyond our means, lost it all, started over. And this was the moment that I always had that itch to be an entrepreneur. And quite honestly, so did my wife, except she never got the chance because I would move her every single year when I'd get a promotion.
Yeah.
Hey, babe, new city, pick out a house, go make some friends. I'm getting on an airplane, right? So it wasn't fair to her, wasn't fair to me. This was when we had the chance to say we have nothing to lose. How do we want to make our comeback? So she built an online fitness program. We built out a gym. She started her fitness identity, which turned into a self-development company after that. And I'll be honest with you, I had lost my mojo. I had lost my confidence. I was tired and burnt out. And I was happy just supporting her and saying, hey, babe, you go out there, you be the forefront, and I'm going to help you grow this thing. But a few years into that, seeing her like have the momentum and kicking ass and having all the success, I started to get that itch back.
Woke up.
I woke up.
Start waking up.
And I remember this crazy thing happened. Lori, my wife, was on a rocket ship, and I could see her trajectory was like this, and I was just kind of coasting down here in the background helping her out. It didn't take a genius to figure out that what was going to happen is we were going to wake up one day and she was going to be so on fire, so high, and I was going to be down here that gap would be too much for us to have a good relationship.
So let me ask you a question, because we all have defining moments.
Yeah.
Which is a moment in time which you will never forget.
Yep.
What was the defining moment? Do you remember when it
I
was
do.
where it clicked and you're like, oh shit, I'm in?
I do. Okay, you're
What
going
was
to love
it?
this. We were out to dinner, just her and I, on a date night. Date night's supposed to be great, right? And she's telling me about her day. She met these exciting people, and they're going to do this exciting collaboration, and there's all these exciting, and I was sitting across from her like I am you right now, and I thought to myself, why does everything have to be so damn exciting all the time? What's wrong with the way things are right now? Now, I just thought it. I didn't say it out loud, but in that moment, that was my defining moment. I was like, whoa, dude, what's wrong? You're sitting across from the person you love. They're killing it. They're doing what they're supposed to do. And you're sitting here being resentful. There's a problem here.
Yeah.
And so I went home that night and I was like, I've got to find a way to like get on this rocket ship that she's on. I got to find a way to get like my momentum back and play at the rate that she's playing at. And a couple days later, I was scrolling on Instagram. And because that's what you do when things are just meh, right?
Yeah, of course.
And I come across this guy who I didn't know then, but I know him now. You probably know who he is. And he's in his garage doing that famous selfie video where he's like, here's my Lamborghini, here's my Ferrari, but what I really love are the books. Who is it?
Ooh,
Ty Lopez.
Oh,
Yep,
Ty
the famous
Lopez.
Ty Lopez video. And what I got from that video was this. If this dude is that successful and he can read a book a day every single day, then maybe I need to like read, I don't know, maybe 30 books in 30 days. And all of a sudden that became this challenge, this personal challenge that I was going to set out to do. So a couple days later, I go to my wife.
So just to clarify, that was seriously your first comeback goal.
Legit. I was just going to read 30 books in 30 days, and I thought somehow that would, propel me forward.
Pay attention, guys.
Right? So I go to my wife, Laura, I go, babe, you're going to think I'm crazy, but I'm going to read 30 books in 30 days. I remember she looked at me, and she never said anything, but I saw relief come over her face. Like, finally, this guy's going to freaking do something.
Set a goal.
Yeah. Set a goal.
Doesn't matter how big the goal is.
No.
Doesn't matter how small the goal is. You got to set that goal.
That's exactly it. And I'll tell you what, my only criteria for those books was they had to be less than 300 pages and they had to improve me in some way. So 7 steps of this, self-development, who cares, right? And halfway through, I had realized that there was this common thread no matter what the book's agenda was. And that common thread is no matter what the book was trying to sell me, it went back to giving. Like giving is a secret to a better relationship, to a better business, to a better bank account, to a better everything. And sure enough, that held through 30 out of 30 books. And that was one of the biggest moments that confirmed for me that I want to lead with giving and I want to lead with generosity because it's the secret to everything that we want in life. And that was kind of beginning the rocket ship.
Okay, I love it. So that's I love that you know the exact moment. Like you remember the dinner you were at. You probably
where
remember
we were
you
at.
sitting.
I remember the booth. Absolutely.
Yeah, so I remember all those little details because I talk about it all the time, and I've said on this podcast many times, defining moments. And I'll say a defining moment is a moment in time that completely changes the trajectory of your life. Like that exact moment at that dinner, you had a mindset shift. Next thing you know, you're reading these books. And what happened after you read those 30 books?
So I read the 30 books in 30 days, and I'm fired up. But not because of the knowledge that was in the books. Cripes, I probably only retained like half of it at best.
Were you more excited because you were actually reading the books?
I was more excited that I was actually doing something. I stuck to something that I said I was going to do that was a challenge. And it's not like the very next day I went out and started landing deals left and right, but it made me realize if I can do this, then I can do anything. And that was the start of me putting myself out there, starting the podcast, which is all about money, mindset, and generosity, starting to invest in other people's businesses, and starting to do a lot of the coaching that I do today.
Yeah, you know what people, okay, I want to get your opinion on it. So people talk to me all the time about the key to success, what does it take? And obviously, like, I'm always screaming and yelling, refuse to quit, refuse to fail, and all these different things. But at the end of the day, the foundation to success is just believing in yourself.
Yeah, believing just long enough to take the first damn step.
That's it. Just freaking believe in yourself. Like, I have this like disease where I really believe in myself, and I always have. And the reason I am the way I am is because my father, my entire life, I was raised to believe that I could be the best at anything. But I also learned in order to be the best, you had to outwork everybody. So I always thought I could be the best, but I knew it would take an enormous amount of work. So my entire life, I would set goals or say I want to do things. And I would believe I could do them because I knew how to put in the work. And I knew how to put in the work because my dad taught me at a very young age what it meant to compete, what it meant to practice, what it meant to work. Like, I remember being an 8-year-old kid working on the baseball fields 5-6 hours a day, 7 days a week. And then I take that lesson with me as an adult now. And that's why I have this self-belief. And it's almost like there's so many people out there defeated because they didn't have that mentor growing up. They didn't have that person telling them you can do anything. And that's why guys like me and you, that's why we're doing podcasts like this, because we want people to believe. That's like, I mean, I'm just talking to you. Shit, 11 years ago, you were broke.
Broke as a joke.
Next thing you know, you go to dinner, you read 30 books. Now you're on a podcast with me talking about how you're changing lives.
Love it. That's the way it's supposed to work, though. Listen, if people grow up and they're like, hey, must be nice for you. You had a dad that instilled work ethic and high expectations. I didn't, right?
Cool, I'm your dad.
Exactly. Plug into us.
Yeah.
Like, that is why we are doing this, which, by the way, anything you need in life for motivation is free at this point. Books are basically free. Podcasts are free.
Everything.
There's no excuses.
And let's
Google
be real
it.
here. 20 years ago, there was no Google.
No.
Like 20 years ago, there was no podcast. There wasn't YouTube shows. There wasn't digital platforms. There was nothing.
No. And you wouldn't be able to find guys like you and I. You'd maybe find Tony Robbins or Jack Canfield or someone who's coming through town or wrote a book. That was about it. Right now is the easiest time to succeed or the easiest time to break out of a funk that there has ever been. So just plug into somebody and like take up all the information you can possibly take. Get out there and take some freaking swings.
Yeah, you got to just go for it.
You need the reps.
I always tell them, whether it's him, whether it's me, it just has to be someone. Find a mentor, right? Like, find someone you trust. Find someone that's done what you want to do and emulate what they've done. Like, you don't have to reinvent the wheel, you know? It's like there's so many entrepreneurs, there's so many businessmen, there's so much content on so many different platforms that someone wants to learn how to make, paper airplanes. Like, they can watch full-on YouTube shows about, like, you can do anything.
That's exactly. It has never been easier to succeed right now, now here's the flip side of that. I think there's a lot of people getting spoiled right now, meaning we're in a great economy. It's booming. It's been booming for a while. Money is flowing left and right. It's never been easier. Information is available everywhere. I think there's going to be some wake-up calls when some people aren't quite playing full out, but they're getting some low-hanging fruit right now. That's going to shift soon.
There's going to be a lot of wake-up calls. And one of the biggest issues I'm seeing is there are guys like me, and there's people following guys like you and me, and their whole days are watching and being inspired, but they're forgetting the most important part, which is the doing. You got to actually do. So for people listening, you got to stop watching eventually. You got to start setting goals, and you got to start taking steps and really taking massive action. So you did the 30 books. Your life changed. What happened right after that?
All right, so 30 books, 30 days. Lori's business is on fire. I start the podcast, start building an audience. And I decided, wait a minute, how do I serve this audience? How do I teach them in a more granular way other than just having the podcast? And so I started a mastermind. Matter of fact, I went to a mastermind and then loved like the format of it and said, hey, I like this piece. I don't like that piece. I would change this. I would change that.
What's a mastermind? Explain to the audience, because I have a very diverse audience.
Yeah.
And a lot of people might not know what a mastermind is.
So a mastermind is a group of like-minded, highly driven individuals that, when put together in the right way, learn from each other, lock arms for a certain period of time, usually 6 months or a year. And the end result is you are able to grow your business by tapping into the other entrepreneurs in that room, sharing contacts, sharing knowledge, and propelling yourself to a level that you probably wouldn't have hit on your own, because you need tribe, man. You need people.
You need people to support you. And mastermind groups are just a group of people getting together. And there's so much just opportunity out there where years ago people would feel lost, they'd feel alone. And now like there's people like creating mastermind groups all day, every day.
Yes.
And gosh, it just drives me nuts sometimes, because like there's so much opportunity today.
I know.
And when I talk to people suffering or failing, and I just want to shake them a little bit and be like, listen, you just got to put in a little bit of effort. You just got to light the flame. You just got to start. And like, that's the biggest thing. Like, so many people think about starting, they talk about starting, they plan to start, and they forget to start.
Right. That's exactly. And guess what a mastermind does? They hold you accountable to starting and keeping going. I'll give you a real example. So I was in a mastermind once. I had this project that I wanted to accomplish, a course I wanted to get out, and it was back burner the whole time. Not important. I know one day I'll get around to it. And I get into this mastermind that I'm participating in, and they say, what's your big goal? I say, I guess to get this course out. And they say, great, by when? Oh, I didn't expect you to ask me that. Okay, by this date. Okay, now what's the next steps that you need to do? I guess I have to do this, this, and this. By when? And they held me accountable to building that set of tracks and to sticking to it, and the course got out ahead of schedule. That is one very small example of what happens when you have accountability and people actually care about you.
So you read the books, you took the first step of the personal goal, you joined the mastermind, and then they forced you to actually take action.
Yeah. So, I mean, from there came courses and investing in other companies because of relationships that I had in there, and speaking on stages. And, you know, in a few short years, my entire life went from one where I was just in the background helping my wife thrive to all of a sudden being in the forefront, thriving with her. And that has been a godsend for the relationship.
And I was just going to say, and let's be real here. Your relationship is a million times stronger.
Oh, for sure. Listen, you can't expect one person to be out, you know, on a rocket ship and the other person to be kind of treading water and think that the person on a rocket ship is going to come home and respect you. Yeah. Now, she never said anything. She never indicated it, but I can figure that out, right? It's sexier to someone when you two are on a rocket ship, when you're doing things.
They
it's more
see you
interesting,
working, right? They want to see you hustling and grinding and believing and inspiring, and that's what fuels me. Like, I get so excited just talking about it. Like, that's the energy. And that's why you have such an amazing relationship, the two of you.
Yep.
You know, we were talking, it's a complete like paradigm shift to where she was up here and you were just down here and miserable, and now you guys are a team. Man,
I'll tell you what, not only are we a team, to watch her chase down her goals, but then to get her or to allow her to see me chase down mine, that's one of the sexiest things on the planet. Yeah. When you know that you're both growing at the same pace, it doesn't get any better than that. And you're so interesting to each other at that point too, instead of one person just doing something small while the other person does something big. If anyone's struggling right now in a relationship, I want them to really look inside or look in a mirror and ask themselves, are they showing up in a way that is demonstrating drive and showing up in a way that, are you interesting, and are you at least attempting to do big things? Because if you are, people are attracted to that, including your significant other. And if you're just treading water, I think you need a wake-up call.
Yeah, you definitely need a wake-up call. So here's another question I have. So, you know, you lost everything, and from the time you lost everything and you were just down and out to the time you read those books, how long of a period would you say you were like out of commission?
I was out of commission, I'm going to say, for about, out of commission, I was working hard on Lori's brand, but let's call it 4 to 5 years.
Okay. Doesn't matter how long it's been. It is never too late to get started.
No.
And the reason I say that is because you're just sitting here with you. You had a 4 or 5 year period where you were really doing nothing.
Yeah.
And look at you today. Like, you're lighting up this podcast. Like, you're full of energy. You're inspiring. You're motivating. You're going to change lives. And that just shows you what a little bit of self-belief can do and a little bit of goal setting can do.
Well, and a couple of right people in your life, right? Yep. So from the people in the mastermind to my wife who, you know, never said anything but led by example. There's a key. Yeah. Like, if you have a spouse back home, now if you're the motivated one, you're listening, and you have someone back home that you're wishing they'd get off their butt and do something, keep leading by example, because it was her leading by example that got me off my butt and made me want to participate more, right? But you get a few key people in your life, and if you don't have them right now, get your butt out there and find them. Right? Get out there and find them. But you get those few key people in your life, and everything's going to change in a hurry for you.
And you know what people say all the time is they all say, well, how do I find these people? Listen, it's like, just go on different social media outlets or YouTube and like just find people that you are attracted to. Find people that you want to be like. Yeah. Find people that have done things that you want to do. And like, it's so exciting to like, set these huge goals, and then you look at people that have done it, and then you study what they did to do it.
Yep.
And like for me, the most rewarding part about success for me isn't the money. The money comes no matter what. Once you become successful at something, it's the challenge, it's the journey, it's the ride, it's that feeling of accomplishment. Like people ask me all the time, like, what gets me going? I'm like, my success, like my accomplishment gets me high. That is what I chase every single day. Like, I love the feeling of accomplishing something and proving to myself that I was able to do something.
Now I don't know what I would do without having the next thing to go chase down and drag back to the cave, right? I look back at that 4 or 5 year point in my life where I was treading water and, quote, helping out in the background. I don't even know how that man could exist anymore.
See, I know what it is, because we're actually very similar. So you were the type that shut down. So a lot of people, like even me, for different periods of my life, when I lost direction, my motivation fell off the map. And when I was like, right before I got into real estate, like I just sat on the couch all day, miserable. I didn't know what to do with my life. And I didn't take action because I didn't have anything to take action on, because I had no idea who I wanted to be. I had no idea what I wanted to do.
Yep.
And when you really want success bad and you don't know how to get there, it's like the most negative thing in the world.
And the word that you just said, I hope they all caught it, is action. Action creates clarity. So you said, oh, I didn't know how I want to show up. I didn't know what I wanted to do. So I just felt stuck and I just sat on the couch. Guys, you don't first get clarity and then take action.
Yeah.
You start taking a whole bunch of action that gives you feedback, which gives you clarity. So you may get feedback that, oh, I never want to do that again. Or you might get feedback that, oh, that didn't feel very good. But at least that's feedback that's leading you to clarity, bouncing you left, bouncing you right. Action will always create clarity. And with clarity, you're freaking unstoppable.
Absolutely. And what are your thoughts on failure?
I think failure is just feedback. I mean, listen, you got to get out there and take the reps. You got to take the swings. You got to strike out a few times. It builds character. It builds strength. It gives you feedback saying you do or do not want to proceed in that direction again. As a matter of fact, people cheer for people that are open about their failures. Yeah. No one cheers for the guy that's just winning 24/7 and seems to be too good to be true. People want to come to your aid and lift you up when you are public about your failures. Yeah. It's amazing. Sure, people will come out of the woodwork and they'll say some real crap. But then the other people come out of the woodwork and they'll say, hey, let me pick you up, man. I got a contact you need to meet. Let me pick you up, man. I know how to do this for you.
So a lot of things have happened since you were completely broke, 10, 11 years ago. So what are the most exciting things you're working on today? Like what drives you today?
2 things. 1, I love philanthropy. Like I love giving. I love spreading the message of giving. I love spreading the message that when good people make good money, they do great things. Here's one of the problems I have with society right now. There's this big class warfare going on where people are shaming you for wanting to be rich or shaming you for having wealth or acting like if you have a bunch of money, then someone else must be going without. And that's not the truth at all. The truth of the matter is wealth and money, it's infinite. And when you, with your good heart, go out there and actually make and create what you were meant to make and create, now you have that extra money to go do something good with. I really believe this. Tarek, if every single person lived up to their fullest ability and actually played all out, there would be enough solutions, enough ideas, and enough money, abundance to go around to solve every damn problem that we face. But the catch is right now, most people aren't playing up to their fullest ability.
Most people are not taking action.
No, and that's why we have all the damn problems that we have right now.
Yeah, and then there are a lot of problems. And then, so like, what do you say to someone that is sitting on the couch that's not happy with their life and, they want to do something new, but they don't know what to do? Like, how do you get out of that funk? Like, what's your advice on that?
Yeah, so my advice is this. It doesn't have to feel good because it's not going to probably. And you're not going to feel confident at first. It's going to feel scary. And that first step is going to feel like a leap that you don't think you can make. But if you just reach out to a mentor, and by the way, if the first mentor says no, reach out to a second one, reach out to a third. If you just reach out to someone who resonates with you and get them to cheer you on, get them to maybe paint a path for you, and then start assembling a tribe of like-minded individuals that also want to grow along with you, no matter how you assemble that tribe, whether you buy into it, plug it in, or just form the damn thing yourself.
Yeah.
That is going to be the secret to creating the momentum that will make you look back at the guy or the gal that was on the couch and say, I don't even recognize that person. But it all starts with who is going to be in your life. It starts with that one person that turns into 2, into 3, 4, 5, 6.
Yeah, and when it comes to completely rebuilding who you are, which is the whole idea of life by design, I mean, I talk about rebuilding yourself from the ground up, figure out who you want to be, figure out why you want to be that person, figure out where that person's going to go, figure out how that person's going to get there. My life today is completely different than I ever imagined it.
Yeah. And I bet right now you've got the confidence that if anything bad happened to you again, now you know that you'd be able to make a comeback and then some, don't you?
You could take everything from me today, drop me anywhere on the planet, and I will be okay.
Yep. You know what I call that? Financial ability. Here's the thing. Growing up, you and I are roughly the same age. You're a little bit younger and better looking.
Yeah.
So growing up, we're about the same age. We probably heard the same lessons. Like we were being taught financial stability, all the conservative things you should do to create financial stability. I say screw that. Go for financial ability, which means you know how to create income out of thin air. You know how to create products. You know how to create passive or residual income. You know how to create multiple sources of income. And if everything exploded in your face today, you'd be able to look your loved ones in the eye and say, don't worry, babe. I can make a comeback and then some. Yeah. That's true financial ability. And that swagger, that confidence, that know-how where you say you could be dropped anywhere and still be just fine. Yeah. That is the point that everybody wants to work to get to.
Exactly. And the only way to get to that point is by failing and trying and doing the same thing over and over and over.
They're muscles that you build. That's really what it is. It's like going to the gym of life, going to the gym of business. You're going to tear some muscle fiber. You're going to have some sore days. You're going to feel embarrassed because someone next to you is doing way better than you. You know what? Who cares? Get your ass into the gym of life, into the gym of business, and build those muscles.
And here's something a lot of people don't understand. Like me and you were talking about all this stuff right now. We were that person.
Yeah.
Like, it was very difficult. Would you agree? It was very difficult to get to where we are today.
That's an understatement.
Think about your story. Think about the bankruptcy and the losing and living in the small apartment and like not getting off the couch and your wife's out there chasing her dreams. You remember those days? Like,
to say it was difficult is an understatement. You're fighting ego. You're fighting embarrassment. You're fighting fear. You're fighting financial situation, meaning you're below zero. You don't even know like how to assemble a few dollars to make your comeback, right? But all you have to do is go seek examples of people that have, right? You, me, a million other people. Go seek those examples of people who have, because when you see what's possible, it becomes real for you.
Yeah.
But if you don't see what's possible, it seems unreal to you.
Yeah. So, I mean, if someone's out there, right, and they don't believe in themselves, because I think a lot of people don't believe in themselves or they doubt themselves. Yeah. Like, what would you tell them?
Pick up a book, listen to a podcast, change the people you're hanging around. Yeah. Listen, if you're hanging around people that are condoning mediocrity, that's half the reason you don't believe in yourself. Yeah. You're going out with people that are saying, oh, that's okay. It wasn't meant for you anyways. Oh, that's okay. You know, people like us aren't supposed to be like people like.
Yeah, what is that people with us? I remember when I got into real estate, people laughed at me. I was a 20-year-old kid, laughed at me. You think someone's going to work with you?
Exactly. Change your damn tribe.
A year later, one of the biggest in the business. From 20 years old.
Yeah.
People laughed at me. I said I was going to get on TV. People laughed at me. Who the hell's going to put you on TV? 8 seasons later, flip or flop. Shooting Flipping 101 right now. I mean, every single thing I've ever done, people have always told me I couldn't do it. That's actually one of the things. I'm here, with my friend Josh over here. And my whole life, people other than my dad, they would always tell me, like, you can't do that.
Yep.
And what always motivated me, as bad as it might sound, I was always on a mission to prove everybody wrong.
Well, that doesn't sound bad. What you were doing is you were identifying your fire, right? And it's different for everyone. Some people thrive off of, I'm going to show you. Other people, it doesn't do much for them. You know what it does? I'm going to make sure my family never hurts again. Or for some people, it might be, I'm going to be the biggest giver in the world. Just find whatever fire reaches you and then use that fuel.
Yeah, I mean,
run with that.
So I think like the note of the day or the message of the day is pretty simple. Like, surround yourself with the right people. Like, join groups. Like, find mentors.
Yes.
Learn to believe in yourself. Read things. Like, get inspired. Get motivated. And there's so much content out there. If you have toxic thoughts going through your mind, like, read books and watch shows and listen to podcasts. And just, if you fill your mind with positivity, there's no way you're going to be negative. It's just not possible.
Nope. I call it positive propaganda. We wake up every day, and there's so much negative propaganda out there in the form of social media, scary news, you name it. I want you to shut the negative propaganda out of your life, and I want you to go seek positive propaganda, because that's what's going to change your life.
I love it, man. So before we get off here, why don't you tell everybody how they can find you and, give me your social media handles and whatever else you'd like to share.
So I'm only hanging on Instagram these days, mostly Chris W. Harder on Instagram. You can listen to my podcast at fortheloveofmoney.com.
fortheloveofmoney.com. All right, guys, that's it. Thank you so much for tuning in to Live by Design. Today was awesome. I absolutely loved our guest. So until next time, talk to you soon.